There's more to imagine when you listen, so let your imagination soar with Audible. Audible has audio titles from every genre that will inspire you to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. As an Audible member, you get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog. Enjoy an exciting reawakening of a beloved classic with the Audible original David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, produced by Academy Award-winning director Sam Mendes, starring Ncuti Gatwa, Helena Bonham Carter, and Theo James. This adaptation breathes new life into a familiar tale. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text IMAGINE to 500-500.
The holidays are all about sharing with family. Meals, couches, stories, Grandma's secret pecan pie recipe. And now you can also share a cart with Instacart Family Carts. Everyone can add what they want to one group cart from wherever they are. So you don't have to go from room to room to find out who wants cranberry sauce, or whether you should get mini marshmallows for the yams, or collecting votes for sugar cookies versus shortbread. Just share a cart, and then share the meals and the moments. Download the Instacart app and get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes. Plus, enjoy free delivery on your first 3 orders. Service fees and terms apply.
Editaudio.
Hello, everybody. It's me again. I'm sure that you have missed me. Okay, maybe not, but that's fine because I've missed you. And speaking of missing things, today we're talking about friendships, adult friendships and craving those in your life. Now, you've heard me talk a lot about being the type of person who has a gaggle of friends around me, and then I absorb their friends and their family. Thank you, Heather and Carrie and all my other friends whose family I've stolen. But most of my friends I met in college. And, since then I've changed a lot. I've gotten into a relationship. I've had kids. I've watched them turn into teenagers. And then I watched my eyebrows start to fall out because of said teenagehood. I started new careers. I moved cities. I gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, lost weight. And my friends have gone through loads of changes too. So last year, one of my pals who I hadn't seen in a long time, she sent me a text with a link to a song that we used to listen to in college on heavy repeat. And so naturally, me being me, I was like, obviously, we all have to get together. So we met for a weekend at my bestie Heather's house on the Cape, and we made time to just reconnect. It's an amazing weekend. And as we're getting ready to leave and we're hugging and we're saying goodbye, I said to that same friend, I said, thank you for making this happen. And she said, I just sent you a text. You did this. And I so appreciate that you keep us together. Well, I didn't even remember that I had done that, but it was such a nice thing that she said. And it made me realize just how much effort goes into friendships, but also how important those deep and intimate friendships have been to me. I mean, they have saved me many times over. But all that said, I also know how hard it is to find your people as you get older when you don't have college classes or bars or clubs to force you into networking. It's tough, y'all. Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, how to make friends as an adult. Okay, today's guest is absolutely amazing. Her name is Courtney. She's in her 40s. She's a writer. She's a podcaster. She's living in LA, but she is yearning for deep friendships. Now, in the last 10 years or so, she's been through 2 friendship breakups that have been very difficult. One, she hasn't totally shut the door on, but the loss of those close relationships has just been weighing on her. Now, she knows she's a good friend. She knows she makes friends easily, but she's just not sure how to make friends at her age. And she's afraid that close friendships are only going to come with time and like a lot of time. And she's missing that now. So let's get right to this convo with Courtney and see if we can, get in there and figure out how to help her make some new close friends. Okay, let's get to it.
My name is Courtney Kosak, and I am a writer and podcaster based in LA.
So why are you with us today?
So I've been noodling on this a lot, but when I sent in my email, I think I was maybe feeling a little sorry for myself. But about 8 years ago and about 2 years ago, I went through these really hard friendship breakups. And, I think they were necessary in some ways for like the growth and evolution of all parties involved, but they were still really hard. And one of the hardest things about them is just like, it's hard to make new friends as an adult, at least
really
in my
is.
experience.
It is. I tend to have like a bajillion different friends from different parts of my life. And my wife has like 2 friends and she's like just doesn't keep in touch with anybody. So it's like a conversation that's always in our house. So I was like so excited to talk about this with you. But I want to ask you first before we start to talk about like, what you're doing to make friends or how that's going. I want to ask about the friendship breakups. Like, is that all like healed? Do we want to talk about that a little bit?
The one 8 years ago, I have recently realized it did take 7 or 8 years to kind of put that one to bed, but I feel like that is fully healed. The newer one, I think it's hard for both of them is like we worked together and I realized I don't think that's a good recipe for me to be super involved in work with my very best friend.
It's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard. Was it like different working styles or like you just different people and it brought that out in the workplace?
I think the first one was we had different goals and needs out of the project and we maybe weren't.
I'm having acid flashbacks, but keep going. I've had one of these.
Is this traumatic for all of us?
It's okay. I'm gonna not speak for my traumatic response. I'm gonna speak for my healed space. But it resonates. So keep going.
Yeah. So I think we were just both going after different things with it, and we weren't very good at, once we got dug in on our own position, we weren't that good at seeing the other person's point of view or like respecting that. And kind of honestly, a very similar thing with the more recent one as well.
I'm curious. I had a lot of learnings out of my situation, and I had them during the friendship, and I had them after, like looking back. Like, where are you? Let's just talk about the most recent one because the oldest one is healed. So, like, where are you in that process?
So that one was more initiated by me. And so I was kind of realizing the things in real time, but it was still hard, for me to recognize that like, oh man, I think it's best for both of us, like if we separate for a while. And I have a lot of love for this person. Yeah. And we had a super long friendship and working relationship. So it was really hard to go our separate ways. But yeah, there was something kind of just instinctual where I was like, I feel like for us to grow, to get to the next like level, or even to come back someday in a better capacity, like this is untenable. And so I knew at the time, and then obviously you have a lot more reflections as time goes on. And so that's just like crystallized for me.
Yeah. I think the reason that I'm curious and like interested in this area is because I feel like before you move into the next thing, whether it's a friendship or a business partnership, you want to like have a clean slate, right? Yeah. You want to be like, what was my side of the street? What was their side of the street? Yeah. What could I do differently? So I'm curious, like, do you feel like you've reflected or are you even a person that's interested in doing that?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've done a lot of reflection about what was mine. And also just, like I said, saying goodbye was hard. But then you also have, like, I got married and it was very sad. Like I was sad that this person wasn't involved in that scenario. So, you just realize like what they added to your life in like the good ways. Yeah, I've done a lots of reflection.
And so, but you said this one is still sort of like open for you. Because I do know that like in friendships, sometimes like Like sometimes there's periods where you're closer, and then sometimes there's periods where you're farther apart, and you either come back or you just continue in different directions. Like, do you feel like you have a resolution with that? Like what you want to do with it?
I did reach out after a long period of non-contact and just said, hey, if you wanted to get together. And then she hit me up when my dog died and was like, I'm so sorry. And so we've had like a tiny bit of communication. I do think we're probably in a little bit different places right now, but I definitely am. The door is open for me on this one for sure.
Okay. Well, so that's good. So then I feel like you have like resolution in your old one. In this one, there's some resolution just hasn't shaken out as to where it's going to end. Yeah. But you're left feeling a hole in your life of like, dare I say it? Like I'm kind of lonely for friends.
Yeah.
Also me and Steph will be your friend. Just FYI, BT dubs.
Yay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't act like I have no friends. Like I have a wonderful bestie,
Yeah.
I've been in Texas and she's in LA, so I do miss her. I haven't seen her in months, but preparing for this conversation made me realize a good thing that maybe we can kind of figure out how I can do more of this. But I was really like a little over a year ago yearning for more friendships, especially I'm a writer and I wanted more writer friendships. And so I hosted a meetup. And
I love that. Love that.
Yeah, my best friend came and then we wound up connecting with these two other writers. And since then, we like make it a point to go get dinner with them every month. And it's really grown into like a real friendship. Like they came to Palm Springs for my bachelorette and hung out with us. And so that's been awesome. And it made me realize, I guess, like you, I have a lot of different kinds of friendships but a lot of them aren't that close. They're more like acquaintance level. And what I'm yearning for are deep friendships. But thinking about that, I was like, oh, I sort of know how to cultivate that. I just need to do a lot more.
Well, I don't know. Like I might devil's advocate that a little bit. I would say, do you have to do more or is it a state of mind? Is it an openness thing? Like, and my wife and I talk about this all the time. There is a little bit of work. Like it does take work to stay in touch and to maintain close relationships, but it's also like a state of being. Like I am always looking for the good people. Like as a parent, you always say to your kids, look for the helpers. Like if you get in trouble. And I think that comes from like, I felt like I had to create my family because my family was like a little not great. So I was always like, who are the people that are going to give what I give? Who are the people that are going to show up? And I'm wondering like how you, because I've never been a good acquaintance person. Like I can't just talk to you about the weather or I don't know, the Liberty. I'm just like, why are we wasting time?
That's why we're podcasters.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I want to get right to it. I'm like, what happened to your childhood? So I'm curious, like how you show up there.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very similar to you where like I want to go deep right away, but I think that's where my yearning comes from is like I'm greedy in that way. Like I want more of those deeper friendships. And I think what I was really missing too about, there aren't that many people, even if you feel like you have a lot of friends or acquaintances that you feel like you could call them at midnight if there was a thing that you need, those kind of friendships.
Yeah. And by the way, you're probably some of where you're at is some grief over like two lost relationships because it's like when you don't have that person, like that's hard.
It is hard. I'm maybe what they would call an ambivert. Like
what's that? I've never heard that.
Yeah, I'm like introverted to a degree and then extroverted at other times. So like I'm very happy with my remote work situation, and like spending a lot of time in my head writing and like I very much value my alone time. But yeah, I cherish my relationships too, and sometimes I'm like, man, I just need some people up in here.
It's so interesting because I'm kind of like the inverse of that. Like I'm like very extroverted and very out here, but then like when I need to be alone, like I never know I need to be alone until it's far too late and I'm being super mean to everybody. Like I'm just like, why have I never been alone in this apartment in 7 days? Like, so it's like, it is like understand that and managing it. And I think it's with the time in our life. I don't know how old you are. I think I'm older than you.
I'm 41.
Like, yeah, we'll just leave it at I'm older than you and we'll just move the point along. But like your circle does shrink as you get older.
Yeah.
And I think some of that is like, it's really easy to meet people in college. It's really easy to meet people in the workplace. And now we're working in our bedrooms. And some of it is a choice, but it gets smaller.
For sure. I'm curious, with motherhood, which is something I'm thinking about right now.
It's great. I'm sorry, Courtney. It's fantastic.
Okay,
greatest thing I've ever done.
I'll add a data point.
No, it is wonderful. It's just hard.
But did you get new friends?
Yeah, in the weirdest way. I have this amazing friend who our kids were in preschool together, and she moved to like Minneapolis, and we're still like, she's my wife will sometimes be like, well, I don't know, what does Angie say we should do? And she'll be like so mad about it because I'll be like, I don't know, I got to go call Angie to think about my side of things. And she's a fantastic friend. And it became a very deep friendship out of nowhere.
My husband and I went to this party that was actually a party hosted by one of those new friends that I mentioned. And when we were there, we were mingling with the people, and he had so many friends that were because of his kids that I was like, oh, maybe also it's a way to make friends.
Well, but you know what? It'll be just like anything else. There'll be a lot of acquaintances. There'll be a lot of people you have to see at birthday parties and crap like that. And then there'll be the one or the two that you're like, oh, that's a good person. And that's a person I really want to try to build that friendship. So I guess that's my question. When you walk into, because whether it's motherhood or whether it's like you're doing meetups, do you go into it with the intention of like, I want to build valuable relationships and friendships?
Yeah, I feel like if I'm especially like in a meetup kind of scenario, I don't know if I was like taking my kid to preschool, if I'd have the same vibe. But
you're still looking around like this. Do we like her? You just are. Like if you're that person, you are.
I guess maybe I sometimes am in my own world and protective in those scenarios. But like if it's like I'm hosting a meetup, yeah, like I'm here to make friends.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Huggies Little Movers. Huggies knows that babies come in all shapes and sizes, and their tushies do too. Huggies has more curves and outstanding active fit. Parents know that there's nothing worse than an ill-fitting diaper, especially for active, wiggly babies. Huggies Little Movers are curved to fit all curves, so babies feel comfy no matter how much they're moving around. And we all know they're moving around a lot. They also offer 12-hour protection against leaks, which is a game changer. Get your baby's butt into the best-fitting diaper. Huggies Little Movers. We got you, baby.
Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Your business deploys AI pilots everywhere. But are they going anywhere? Or are they stuck in silos, exhausting resources, unable to scale? Maybe you don't need hundreds of AI pilots. You need a holistic strategy. IBM has 65,000 consultants with Gen AI expertise who can help you design, integrate, and optimize AI solutions. So you're not just deploying AI, you're scaling it across your business. Learn more at ibm.com/consulting. IBM. Let's create.
I have so many thoughts. I also am finding this really weird because this morning I literally woke up and I was like scrolling on some social media and I got an ad for this New Yorker article that was called The Trouble with Friends. And that's literally how I started my day, was like listening and reading this article. But her whole like thesis of this was that, you know, you lose a lot of friends through these different phases of life, like marriage or, you know, serious romantic relationships, COVID, having children, all of these stages. And it did have like a positive ending, but like, I guess I'm resisting the urge to be like, I don't relate to that fully because like I have always felt like maybe I don't want children and I know that my friends will. And so I like, as a good friend, try to like put an effort in there. So like, the whole time I was reading this article, I was just like, you just need better friends. Like, ew, your friends suck. But like, maybe that's not it, you know?
Well, but like, okay, so let's break that down for a second, right? There's also like an age difference between producer Steph and I, even though she's so wise and beyond her years. But like, she'll text me and be like, I'm having a Halloween party. And I'm like, I love you so much. There is just no way in hell I'm coming to this. But please keep inviting me because it makes me feel nice.
But I will never, like, that is the thing I feel like about friendship is like, I do not care. If you come, that is amazing for me and I will love that. But like, I'm going to be doing things regardless and I'm going to invite you all the time because I want to see you and you're my friend. But like, if something is very important in a life event, I'm going to be like, Robin, this is important to me. Be there, you know?
You know, this is why I wanted you to come in here in this combo, though, because I think that's different than most people. Like, my experience is that after 4 invites, people stop inviting you, and then you start to separate out on a path.
I feel like that's ego. I feel like that's internal ego, that you are scared people don't like you because they haven't come to things or something.
Let's make it be about Courtney again. I like this less.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't mean you. I mean like the general you. It's like, It's like a fear that people are saying no because they don't want to be doing the thing. But I'm like, why wouldn't someone want to come to my Halloween party?
That's
like,
such good self-esteem. I love that for you.
I feel like Courtney's more like me.
So, yes, Steph, your strategy, I feel like when I do that, I do get good results. For example, my husband was just opening this place, so it was a soft opening. I invited this woman that I knew in LA and we liked each other, but she moved and yada, yada. You know, it was like we tried to hang out like 4 times and, you know, that whole thing. And then we kind of went our separate ways, but I hadn't seen her in forever. And so I invited her out and it was like awesome to see her. We totally reconnected and it was totally casual. My whole self-esteem was not caught up in whether she came or not. I was very glad that I just extended the invite and then let whatever happen happen. So I think your strategy is sound. Like, yeah.
But I think it's hard to do sometimes. Like, I don't know a lot of people like you in that way, Steph. I love that about you, but I don't know a lot of people like you in that way.
I feel like we're like complimenting me and it's like very nice, but I also think there's like a I mean, I guess this is my question because like Robin, I feel like I know this answer, but like Courtney, do you think that you're a good friend?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so then
I think there's some nuance to that.
Ooh, I want to hear. Okay, give us the nuance.
Yeah, give us the nuance.
The nuance is I think I do have high expectations of myself. And so I have high expectations of my closest friends, not necessarily my like acquaintance level friends, but I'm not like needless. You know, I kind of expect them to meet me at a certain place. And so sometimes that can get in the way, I think, maybe.
Do you vocalize your needs to them?
In my old age, I am such a like, and I love this about myself, but I think it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like I am such a boundaried person and like I know what I want and I'm able to express that and yada yada. But in some ways, maybe that could be intimidating for people or feel like if they can't meet me at that level, like, you know, that's a problem.
I have a question, or maybe it's an observation. Like, what if That is what it is, and that's just fine. And there's different levels that people are your friends. You know, like I have some friends that are just like, we're just going to have a beer and it's going to be funny. And if you're in town, great. And if I can do it, great. But I am never calling you with any kind of a deep problem. I'm not expecting anything from you because I know that that's not who you are, or I know that's not who we are to each other. And then I have other friends who are like, I'm calling you from wherever I am, whenever I'm in trouble.
Yeah, I've actually, this is so funny that we're talking about this. Yes, I have been thinking about this exact thing lately. And even with my closest friends, I'm trying to be like, you know, whatever. People have all kinds of things going on in their lives. And I mean, I don't always live up to my best intentions. So it's like,
Ditto.
You got to cut people some slack. I feel like I communicate my side, and what I'm trying to get better at is like, not everybody is such a communicator, and
They are not. I
know how these certain people are operating. It's like, I have to just accept their, you know, how they are and
where they are.
Yeah. I think what I want more of is like deepness. I could use another 2 more people that they don't even have to be my bestie, but I want them to, that inner circle is what I'm trying to like fill out. And the other thing is, this is so funny, but my mom did one of those Storyworth books. Like I gave it to her as a gift. Yeah. And in almost every chapter, seriously, so many times, she was like, my husband is my best friend. And they are. That was what was modeled for me, is like, they didn't have a lot of outside friends. Yeah. They were each other's best friend.
Oh, it's so sweet, though.
It is really sweet. And my husband is my bestie, too, in a lot of ways. And I'm really happy with that. But I want a few more people that are not married to me.
It's so funny. I will never be a person that is only like, my husband is my best friend, not just because I'm gay. Like, it's like, it's just like, that's not who I am. Like, I am fulfilled in many different ways. And what I'm resisting in this conversation right now, like, I can feel myself. I can feel the helper that gets uncomfortable being like, should we start Googling places to make deep friendships? And then I'm like, no, Robin, that's not actually the answer, because many times those deep friendships they're over time. Like, I've known Steph for 6 years, I think, at this point. And so it's like, some of it is that time, but I do think there is that, like, that space of like, and I think about this for dating too. And I think I've mentioned this before, like, is your taxi cab light on? Are you like, how are you searching for those connections and bravely having those conversations?
Oh my goodness. Yes, the time thing. Well, there's two things. First of all, I think a great thing to come out of this conversation is the taxi light on. And like,
I think it's from Sex and the City. I stole it and I love it.
But yeah, like, I need to be like Steph and not take it so seriously. It's like, I can reach out to even people from my past that I like want to, you know, reinvest in those relationships. And it's okay even if I reach out a bunch of times and I don't get a yes right away, but it seems like, oh, I wish I could. It's like, I can keep maybe trying there a little bit more. And then the time thing, I think, is maybe what I'm struggling with, or struggled with post breakup for both of those friendships, is just like, you can't fast track that.
You can't.
So like those writers that I met at a meetup, I mean, instantly we were like, oh, this is a good vibe. But we didn't go to Palm Springs the next month. You know, it's like, we had to do the like, okay, we meet up. And then it's like, oh, we've been seeing each other now for a really, like, now it is deeper, and like they are at a different level. And I would love to get even a little bit closer, but I had to build that over a year.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what I'm dreading a little bit, is like, oh man, even if I, you know, find a new friend tomorrow, it's going to be a while before we're super deep.
Well, who are the people that, you know, like when you haven't seen them a long time and you sit down and they go, hey, how are you? And you go, oh my God, with the subway, and I just walked over the thing.
Yeah.
Are there any of those people in your life that you haven't prioritized, or that maybe can be brought back in? Like, I just think there's a lot of ways to look at this.
Great question. Yes. I mean, I have a best friend from college here in Texas that I saw her once. I'm going to see her again tonight. Another bestie from college who came to my wedding, and it was like, I seriously, when I invited her to my wedding, we hadn't had a conversation in like a year. Did not matter. I could meet her in 5 years and we'd be like, bah, 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 bah. And it was just it made me realize like, oh, go to Missouri and see, like,
yes,
take a trip, and like, that's going to fill your cup up too. Is like, you do have those people. Some of them moved away.
Well, I wonder, like you mentioned that you're, what was that phrase again? Ambivert?
Ambivert, yeah.
I like love it. And it's like putting yourself out in that way to just be the person to be like, hey, once a year, I'm coming to see you. Yeah. Because there's a sadness, like I feel a sadness of missing those friends.
Yeah, definitely.
So go more.
Yeah, that's a really good lesson. Yes. I also think, when you get older too, sometimes there's financial stuff. It's like going to see some of my friends, like sometimes that's like a hardship for.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely has been for me in the past. So maybe too, it's like, hey, if you're down for this weekend, like I'll get the hotel. All you have to do is take care of your ticket or whatever. I think I could do a little bit more of like that too. So it's not like, do you have $1,000 right now to come?
For us to go to an all-inclusive in Jamaica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the circumstance part of it. It's like, I have a really good friend that lives in Montreal. She has 2 little kids and she went back to school. Like, I am not expecting her or her children to ever visit me for the next, I don't know, 10 years, maybe, if that. But like, I know that and she knows that, and I have to go visit her, or we have to do things virtually, or we have to, I think there's ways around it. But I do wonder if there's like a way that you can like scope out people based on if they have lots of friendships and then go for them, so that that they're like someone who like has friendships.
They're open, but sometimes those people, it's like their dance card is full.
Yeah.
Right?
But also like I feel like you're not going to be in shortage of finding people. It seems like it's more just like nurturing what you have and then being open for the ones you're creating and accepting that you're a person who needs this.
Yes. I think it's definitely accepting and prioritizing. I can definitely be like a workaholic and be like, oh no, I'm just writing my memoir and I don't have to, like I can just get stuck on the page for a month. It's like, no, I do need to come up for air.
It's good for you anyway.
Basis. Yes.
As an introvert, it's good for you. Like I'm always to my wife, I'm like, when was the last time you left the apartment? Let's go take a walk. You have not been out. You got to see people.
You know that feeling when your favorite brand really gets you? Deliver that feeling to your customers every time. Memorable moments like these are key to building your business and your brand. Klaviyo turns your customer data into real-time connections across AI-powered email, SMS, and more, making every moment count, so you can continue to build smarter, more meaningful relationships with your customers. Build smarter digital relationships with your customers and make every moment count with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/BFCM.
I have like people that are in my weekly rotation, right? Like friendships that are, I mean, that's weird to say, but weekly rotation, like people who I talk to every week, I know I'm going to talk to every week. Anyone outside of that is still like a friend of mine that I value, I have literal, like, and this is going to make me maybe sound a little sociopathic, but like I schedule it into my calendar.
Oh, that's interesting.
I have I mean, if you look at my calendar right now, I literally have a full personal calendar, and it's like, check in on this person, or like this big thing is happening on this person, and I
that's good.
Have it
that
on
is
my
next
calendar.
level.
I'm not
and
that good.
It's also, I'm very busy, and so like sometimes like if there's someone who travels too, I'm not going to see them for 3 months unless I literally message them and are like, I am free on November 14th, 15th, and 21st. Are you? But I think in a way that makes me sound weird, but in another way, it is that I'm valuing those relationships as much as, if not more than, like all of the other things that are going onto my calendar.
That's really good. And I also just need to acknowledge it's like, podcasting is such like a cheat code for like, you want to pick someone's brain, you want to get to know somebody better. Yeah. Like you have an excuse. I heard Ira Glass say something like, I think it really says a lot about me that I feel like this is how I connect with people, is like scheduling these conversations to go super deep all of a sudden. But I need to take some of those conversations. It's like, I'm scheduling with them because like I'm interested in that person, and I need to do a better job of, for some of them, trying to take that like after the show and be like, hey, do you want to grab a drink? Or
I
have homework for you.
Oh, okay, Steph.
I have 2 things, which let me know if you think these are good homeworks. Homework items, homeworks, assignments. The first one is like maybe a bit of a reframe around the like friendship breakups that you've had. 'Cause I don't know. I mean, this might be my own shit too, but like I've had real friendship breakups that are like, someone did something that was wicked not okay, and there was a sever. Like, It sounds like yours seem more like circumstantial or something, or like, this person isn't like the person for right now in my life. Like, they're not fulfilling this like friendship role in the way that I had envisioned it. Like, they have other priorities going. And that maybe it was like almost de-escalated instead of a breakup.
Yeah, I would say the second one is maybe what you're saying, where and I kind of pressed pause on that because I was like, I don't want to fully break this thing right now. I think if we step back in the future, we could come back. We can't right now, but if we keep going like this, it's going to be a no-go. And I learned that because of the first friendship breakup that I had, where it was like, that person dragged me so hard after the fact. And it was like, if I can help it, I don't want to be in the same room as this person like ever again.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That is truly horrible. But also really cool that you learned that about yourself. And now like you're sort of like on this journey to fill this like role in your life or roles in your life. And that's really cool because you're probably not going to fall back into that, you know?
Yeah.
So that was my first homework, is the reframe, which it sounds like you've already kind of done. So not homework really. And then my second is to literally just ask people if they want to be friends, which sounds so silly and like an elementary school playground. But I cannot tell you how many people in life I have asked. I cannot tell you how many people on this podcast I have asked to be my friend.
That's true. That's true.
And
do you say it so?
I literally will be like talking to someone, and if we have like a good banter, a good time, I'll be like, do you want to like be friends or something? Like, this seems like really cool. And then sometimes
she's so good at it.
Most of the time they're like, yeah, we'd love that. And then they give me their number and I reach out like a week later and say like, do you want to get a coffee? Or I'm going to this thing. Do you want to come? And like, that's how I've made most of my friends.
Okay, I think that's incredibly brave of you and like vulnerable. If I was like, hey, do you want to be my friend? And someone said no, I'd be like, okay.
No one's going to straight up say no. But I think the thing is like, it's not about you. Like believing that you're a good friend and other people would be like lucky to be your friend. Like, that's a beautiful thing. And then like if someone says no, it's like about their own stuff, not about you. It's not a reflection of you.
I have a different homework that I'm not sure if you'd be open to or not. Is with
Robin's about to ask you to go get a drink.
Will you be my friend, Courtney? Please send me an email saying yes or really no.
Busy. No.
Take your time. I'm thinking about having kids. My life's really full. Oh, Jesus. No, okay,
I'm so sorry for interrupting, but I had to.
No, that's fucking brilliant. No, my homework is that last friendship breakup. Like, would you be open? Like you said, you two are starting to like tip your toes into the water, dip your toes into the water. Would you be open to being like, hey, when I'm back, we should grab a drink things went sort of sideways, or like, I'd love to just kind of like talk for a bit and see if there's anything left to process, or be like, I've missed you. I mean, now granted, I don't know. The reason I said, would you be open to it, is 'cause I don't know all the specifics of what happened. So it may not be a good idea, but is there anything in there that feels?
I go back and forth on this, and this is why I haven't reached out again. But yes, I don't know if I'm like ready to do that homework, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But, like it's her birthday in a couple months. I might reach out and wish her a happy birthday. I feel like I'm not quite ready to jump back in, but I am definitely like gut checking myself periodically to be like, is it now? Okay, maybe not quite yet. And like, I do believe that there is going to be a day where, and I don't know if like we might not be best friends again ever.
Yeah, but you might like, be something.
Yeah, maybe we'll just be like, hey, really fun to catch up, and that kind of thing. I do believe that there is a future where that is.
So then I would ask you, if that's the case, as a writer, to spend some time whenever writing what would be the ideal time and why. Like to try to like process whatever is still there. Because she sounds like a person who was important in your life and may still be important in your life. So just like, even if it just gives you closure, and the answer at the end of the exercise, whether it's meditating on it, thinking on it, writing on it, whatever it is that you choose to do, like the end of that, the answer might be like, no, it was a time and it was a place. But I just think it's an open thing in the middle of this larger thing.
Yeah.
I just think there's something unfinished for you. Yeah. And like, even if you don't, it's almost like when that exercise where they have you like write the letter to the person and then you don't have to send it. It's like that, just resolving it for you so that you can put that one to bed in wherever it lands.
Yes. Okay. I love these homeworks. I'm going to do both of them. I'm going to give myself another homework too.
Ooh, yes.
And I think I'm going to host, when I go back to LA, I'm going to host another meetup. And this time, instead of blanket, promoting it on my social media and whatever, I'm going to very intentionally invite a few people, like personally, that are writers that I really would like to connect with and that I would like to take it to the next level. But like, I don't want to, it doesn't have to be like, and if they can't come that night, it's like, okay, great. Well, if you want to like meet up and do something another time, I would totally be down. But I think if I do that, and it's like such a beautiful low pressure environment, that I think it's a great kind of first step, and it worked for me before. So.
I want to make my wife's a graphic designer, and I want to make her create an invite that says, "Will you be my friend?" Checkbox yes or no, and then that's your invite to a party.
You guys have to fly in.
I mean, listen,
we're ready.
You didn't even ask us. We're already like, we'll be your friend.
Yeah.
This has been such a lovely conversation. Like, I love these kinds of conversations where we're just like exploring, like we were doing the thing that you said you love to do. Just like exploring a conversation and talking about it. And I always find these to be so clarifying for what I think and what I'm missing. And I'll walk out of here and be like, I haven't talked to my two besties. I'm going to call them. And I think that's lovely. And I'm so thankful that you came on and were willing to talk about this, because that opens it up for a lot of people.
Thank you guys. This is really good. And just even, I feel like for anyone listening, even the reflection to like have this conversation was really clarifying for me about what I want. And it gave me a lot of gratitude for like, oh, my situation is not that sad. Like I have a lot of wonderful people in my life, and sometimes it's like celebrating the people that already exist.
Yeah.
And spending more time with them.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, what an amazing conversation. I'm going to go call all my besties. But before I do that, I do have to say to you, Steph, that this chat, it made me so thankful for having loving friends who are like my family. And I do know that you feel the same way about chosen family. Mm-hmm. So before we leave, I wanted to steal something from the Webby Awards, okay? Do you remember they do that thing where they make all their winners give just like a 5-word acceptance speech?
Oh, yeah. Love that.
Right. I love that. So I want to ask you, what are your 5 words for friendship? What does it mean to you?
Ooh. My 5 words about friendship. Okay. Care, I think, is one. Honesty. Play, or like playfulness. I want to say trust, but I'm not a very trusting person, so I think I'll say respect.
I feel like if you're not a very trusting person, you should say trust.
Yeah.
But I want to make you do your words. You do your words.
Trust/respect, and then I think communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I did write that down, but I didn't think of what mine would be.
What?
I know.
Well, I want to know yours.
Okay. I'm going to say loyalty, fun/joy, intimacy, support, and family. I think those are my words.
I like yours better now.
Oh, no, I liked yours too. What's your most surprising friendship?
Oh, I actually don't know if I know
is it
the
me?
answer to that.
I'm just
surprising. No. I feel like you are not surprising to be friends. I feel like we're pretty similar.
We are. It's true.
My like childhood best friend, Nikki, she has 2 siblings that are younger than her. And one of them, like, I wasn't really like friends with because she was like 3 years younger than me. But as we've gotten older, I actually think like her and I are very, very similar. Like the way that we like think and like act and, exist in the world. And I feel like she has become a friend independent of my friend that's her sibling. And that's like really cool and beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Mine would be, he's a mutual friend of ours, but Barron. So Barron was my intern at Spotify. Like, I helped him get a job on our team. And then he ended up becoming my boss at Headspace, which was hilarious. But then it's like, out of all of that, like, I would have thought that, he was like kind of that wacky kid. I mean, we're like not close in age. He's like, we have completely different backgrounds. And he's like the wacky, like really talkative kid that sat behind me at work and like would just be like, so anyway, and, talking to me about Real Housewives. And, sometimes like those are your people at work. And then when you leave the job, they don't always come with you. Like, they're like time and space friends. And I might have thought, not that he isn't like a lovely person, but just that our time and space would have shifted after I left the job. But it just turned into this very like amazing friendship. And now he's like one of the people that we have like a manifestation weekly to try to sort out our careers. And we are always like, just checking in, and he's my tennis buddy. We were at his wedding in Spain. So it was just like, it was an unexpected, very close friendship with somebody who's, like, I think I'm like much closer to his mom's age than.
I mean, who cares?
I'm young in spirit.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking of all the weird ways I've met people.
Oh my God. You meet people so weird all the time. You just do.
Yeah, like I'm like, actually most of my friends I have like weird meet cutes with, but they're not unsurprising friendships so much.
I feel like every story that you tell me starts with, I know you're going to make fun of me for this, but I was sitting at the bar and I met these 2 70-year-olds. And the next thing I know, we were having dinner together. And now I'm planning to go stay with them in Porto. It's like, that's like every story you tell.
That happened to me not long ago. So yes, that is my toxic, not toxic trait.
No, that's a great trait. I do not have that. But I mean, I think when I think of friendships, I have to say that it can be hard to maintain them sometimes. And it can be hard when our paths shift or change, or it can be hard when they're long-term and you push each other's buttons. But I don't know. I think there's nothing like sitting with the person that knows you so well and just saying that thing that you're afraid to say, or, like sharing that thought that, only they'll get. And for me, when I win that $1 billion mega lottery jackpot, which is definitely totally going to happen, I'm going to buy a commune for all my favorite people. Steph, you are invited.
Hell yeah.
And, while we're talking friendships, I just have to say, I'm so glad that you checked the box to be my friend.
Aw, I'm so glad we're friends too.
Will you be my friend? Yes or no? And you said yes, and I'm thankful for that. So that's it for today, folks. But before we go, I want to say so many thanks to Courtney for coming on today and letting us talk and think about friendship. And if you want to hear more Courtney, just check out her podcast, Private Parts Unknown. And then she also has the other podcast called The Bleeders. And you can also subscribe to her Substack, which is called Podcast Bestie. for more Robin, and you may need that. You probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer and editor is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Speckert. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.